I'm not gonna go back to my mother's.
Why not?
Because I'm gonna make Teresa adopt me.
Why, buddy?
Because I don't love my mom anymore.
Why don't you, son?
Well, take one guess. She does crack, she does weed, she does all this other junk.
That boy is 8, and he is in the news today because last Thursday his mother, Ana Vazquez, left him and 5 siblings alone in Batavia while she allegedly came to Rochester to get high. The oldest child was 12, the youngest was 1. After being alerted by relatives, the authorities came Friday night to this apartment where the children had been left. Inside, they say they found squalor. Baby diapers all over the place, food rotting, the floor not visible most places. There was a stench. And the children, though they appeared well fed, had head lice.
The kids were hungry. They were dirty. They were filthy, absolutely filthy.
She had pretty much abandoned them to go to Rochester to use drugs. There was no food for the children. In the bedrooms, there was just mattresses for the children with no sheets, no blankets.
The children are now in the custody of neighbors and relatives. At the time they were left alone, their mother was already under the supervision of Genesee County Child Protective Services for previous incidents of allegedly neglecting or abandoning her children.
She's really trying. She's giving it all she's got to get everything she's got to do right for her kids to come home.
That view is not shared by all of Ana Vazquez's neighbors.
Even when she did get the kids taken away, she had a party going on today. Music blaring, smoking weed, drinking.
I'm giving her one chance. She does it one more time, she ain't gonna see me. She ain't gonna see me no more.
Bob Lonsberry, the 10 o'clock news.
It's a busy day at the grill for Henry Johnson. He's helping feed more than 60 family members at a cookout. Just one of thousands of families sure to grill out this July 4th weekend. And whether you're cooking for one or for the whole family, experts say you still need to keep safety in mind when you're behind the grill this July 4th weekend. And as more propane tanks are lit and lighter fluid used for cookouts, local EMT experts say they respond to more fire-related injuries.
Usually it kicks off on the weekend or whatever the holiday of the 4th falls on, is when people really start getting out and grilling and the big family picnics are starting. So we see more burns, flash injuries from grills and things like that with the gas grills.
Mayor says both
I'll catch up with you guys later.
one or for the whole family, experts say you still need to keep safety in mind when you're behind the grill.
Hey, Homer, you ever think about racing that bird?
You can race pigeons?
Hey, if it moves, you can bet on it.
What about the Detroit Lions?
Nah, lay off Detroit. Them people is living in Mad Max times. But I was thinking you could enter this bird in the annual Springfield to Shelbyville Birditarod.
Me, the patriarch of a bird racing dynasty.
Congratulations, Homer.
Danica Patrick in my thoughts.
That's right, Homer. I'm contractually obligated by my sponsors to...
Kicks off on the weekend or whatever the holiday of the 4th falls on, is when people really start getting out and grilling and the big family picnics are starting. So we see more burns, flash injuries from grills and things like that with the gas grills.
Mayor says both gas grills and conventional charcoal with lighter fluid are dangerous. It's a busy day at the grill for Henry Johnson. He's helping feed more than 60 family members at a cookout. Just one of thousands of families sure to grill out this July 4th weekend. And whether you're cooking for one or for the whole family. The experts say you still need to keep safety in mind when you're behind the grill this July 4th weekend. And as more propane tanks are lit and lighter fluid used for cookouts, local EMT experts say they respond to more fire-related injuries.
Usually it kicks off on the weekend or whatever the holiday of the 4th falls on, is when people really start getting out and grilling and the big family picnics are starting. So we see more burns, flash injuries from grills and things like that with the gas grills.
Mayor says both gas grills and conventional charcoal with lighter fluid are dangerous if in the wrong hands.
So lighter fluid and it flashing up and exposing somebody is just as bad as the gas grill if somebody isn't lighting it correctly.
That's why Henry Johnson takes precautions like having water nearby. Andy tries to do most of the cooking before eager little hands get the chance to get too close to the fire.
Well, we just try to keep all the little kids. We try to get all this stuff done before the little kids get here. But when the little kids get here, we make sure that we keep them over there, not over here.
Just as the cookout is a part of the July 4th tradition, experts hope grilling safely will remain part of that tradition as well. Dan Liddell by the 10 o'clock news.
The city is putting its foot down, letting unlicensed vendors know they're not welcome at this weekend's Park Avenue Festival or at any city festival in the future. The new law also prohibits residents and business owners from leasing space to others, which doesn't sit well with this Park Avenue homeowner.
I paid enough money for this house. I pay enough in taxes. I don't need them to remind me what piece of property I own and what I do not own and what I can and cannot do on it.
Festival officials are breathing a sigh of relief with this new law in place. They feel some type of control is needed to make sure the Park Avenue Summerfest keeps its reputation as being among the top 100 in the country.
It's challenging as a festival promoter and producer to maintain a quality event when you've got residents and commercial endeavors who are competing with you.
There is one exception to this law. Yard sales are still allowed, but only for selling used personal items or homemade food or drinks.
Some people want to have a garage sale and take advantage of all the traffic, and more power to them. But don't import things from Guatemala to sell at your garage sale.
Even with the exception, Chris Koch still feels the city is taking things too far. He says if the festival wants to run through his neighborhood, he should be able to take part in any way he chooses.
You're telling people what they can and cannot do on their own private property. And when you get into that type of a situation, then I have a problem with that.
Hundreds of people from all walks of life took part in the march through the city's southwest neighborhoods, making stops to known or suspected drug houses to pray for those living inside. It was an emotional day for many, especially for this mother who lost her son 7 years ago to violence.
As an active end of violence, he was beaten to death down by Eastman Theater. Nobody's ever been arrested, and he was just a great kid, and it was a horrible crime, and I just don't want to see that happen to other kids.
Hand in hand, marchers joined in unity, blessing folks along the streets on their way to the afternoon rally at Genesee Valley Park. The hope is that one day soon, this little girl, along with other children her age, will grow up in a safe, drug-free environment.
Anything to improve this neighborhood or any other neighborhood, no, it's good. Good for the community. It's good for the people who live there.
This rally is the first of 3 to be scheduled for the summer. The idea came back in June when local police officers and area church leaders decided something has to be done to stop the increasing amount of drug-related homicides that occur in the city each year.
We cannot do it all by ourselves, and we need to have people within the community to help us in terms of combating crime.
So far this year, city police have reported 26 homicides. Almost half were drug-related. Folks living in these drug-infested communities hope with a little help from police and a lot of help from above, drugs and violence will no longer be accepted as the norm in their society. Emily Story, the 10 o'clock news.
Business is in full swing along Irondequoit Bay. It's something towns surrounding the bay would like to see more of. more water-related businesses like the Bayside Boat and Tackle Shop. That's why the towns of Webster, Irondequoit, and Penfield are pushing for redevelopment of Irondequoit Bay.
And it really does need to be revitalized and more appropriate uses put in there. So we completed a plan about 3 years ago, and we've been actively trying to implement that.
For the long-term project, Irondequoit Bay has already seen millions of dollars in environmental improvements, that over the course of 20 years. The creeks feeding the bay are popular as well. Irondequoit Creek is a favorite spot to kayak. Penfield recently bought land adjacent to the mouth of the creek to develop as a park. Recreational improvements like that make for a promising future to business owners by the bay.
Anything they could do down here would help everybody that's down here. We've had good success with what we've got going. It's our third year. We're still building the business, and hopefully it continues to grow.
The town of Irondequoit is looking at redeveloping the bay inlet area as well. For many who enjoy the bay, the possibility of future development is exciting, but some are wary of too much of a good thing.
I'm not in for commercialization in a big way, but I'd like to see a couple more eating places. There are a couple nice places here, but I'd like to see some more too.
Town officials say it will be a long process, but if successful, they hope Irondequoit Bay will be the major water recreation draw in the area. Dan Ladelfa, the 10 o'clock news.
Strawberry fields forever stretch acre after acre. Little hands pick little red strawberries and stuff them into their little faces. Today, at least, Green Acres is the place to be.
Well, every time I turn around, it rains. So we thought we'd try it today because it's finally warm and gave it a shot, and we actually found a good spot.
All has not been sweet in strawberry land. Orchards throughout upstate New York have had to deal with heavy rain, standing water, and the uncertainty of how their crops would be affected. It seems this spring it turned out better than expected.
Farming is always a challenge, in good years and bad. This year has been more challenging than others because of the wet spring we've had. It's been very difficult to get into the field to do any work.
The growers themselves are surprised at how good the crops turned out despite all the rain. If you'll take a look at some of these strawberries, these are some of the best eating around.
We usually pick about 10, 11 pounds of them.
So the rain's not going to stop you from
Not at all. I'll pick it in the rain.
Isn't there some saying about famous last words? The remains of the antique co-op is like an ashen burial ground for memories, and the vendors come here to pay respect and look for some semblance of what was once their business.
Just finding little pieces of remembrance for each one of these little stores that were here. I look at each corner and I can see what was there. I can visualize the happiness. I can see the businesses.
There is hope today, and among the vendors, there's hope in numbers. Dozens of them met and discussed the possibility of relocating the co-op in an existing location and eventually rebuilding.
They're very optimistic, and I would say fairly strongly determined about accomplishing our goal to be back in business. I'm hoping by the Christmas season.
Even though none of these vendors can ever be compensated for their losses, the mood here is optimistic.
This meeting gives me more hope that we're going to rebuild because all the vendors are so responsive to the manager's statement that they will rebuild.
The music is pulsating. The people who listen to it appear to become one with the beat. This is a rave. It's one of the few places where underground techno music or non-mainstream music can be heard in a large venue. But in recent months, raves around the country have earned a bad reputation for permitting, even encouraging the use of the drug ecstasy, which enhances the senses. Everyone we talk to says the drug has become associated with the culture.
If you're responsible and you know what you're doing, you know, there's no problems. But if you get immature people and irresponsible people, things will happen.
The promoters of this rave allowed our cameras in. We saw security guards checking bags and pockets at the door. Security was also heavy on the dance floor. Then there were the kids, apparently enjoying themselves. Kids say this party is about the music, not the drugs.
Being able to see friends, be able to hang out, you know, and listen to good music, and actually be out somewhere other than your house to be able to listen to it.
The hosts of this rave do not deny there may be drugs here or at any other raves, or they say almost anywhere your kids hang out. They do make it clear they don't encourage it, and apparently they're doing what they can to keep them out.
There are people who are just coming for the drugs, and my message to them is to just stay away because we don't want you.
But one local farm is taking a very high-tech approach to protecting its 400 acres of fruit. Here at the Circle R Farms in Orleans County, the managers keep a very sharp eye on the weather. Anytime a thunderstorm threatens the area, they turn on this machine, which is a sonic blaster. It sends a shock wave way up into the atmosphere, breaking up any hailstones that may develop before they hit the ground in an effort to save a crop worth hundreds of thousands of dollars. Bernie Heberly, manager of Circle R Farms, shows us how it's done.
And what we do is we turn it here and we hit fire. And what that's going to do is set the gas into the line here, just like it is doing now, and it's going to fire.
One hailstorm can destroy an entire year's work. Apples that are flawed, dented, or bruised are not purchased by consumers, which is why the sonic blasters are so important.
Your whole crop is at stake here. You know, you put your heart and soul into a product, and then all of a sudden, in 2 minutes' time, it's gone. It's more heartbreaking than it is anything else.
And they never take chances.
We don't set it off, you know, not unless we really have to, but any kind of storm at this time of the year with this humidity, it's always a chance that there could be hail in it.
A little high technology makes it just a little easier for these apple farmers to sleep at night.
Six-year-old Gina Corrala should be at her first day of class instead of playing with her friends on this playground. But a behind-schedule renovation project at her Newark Elementary School has canceled classes for the first week, forcing many parents to find babysitters for another week.
It affects a lot of us because a lot of the parents had told the babysitters they wouldn't need them, and now they had to scramble around to find a babysitter and pay them, and then a lot of parents probably had to take off because they couldn't find a babysitter. It was just kind of hectic.
Perkins Elementary School is home to kindergarten through second graders in Newark and a new BOCES wing. School officials say they are disappointed the project is behind schedule, but say keeping the school closed is a decision they had to make.
We felt that safety came first, and the classrooms weren't safe enough for us to have the children in.
The renovation project here at this school is part of a $47 million district-wide project here in Newark. However, the work that's being done at those other schools will not affect class time for students there. But at the Perkins School, more than 400 parents and students like Gina will have to wait for construction to finish. School officials say they have been working around the clock to make sure this delay doesn't take any longer than necessary.
We've probably been here 5 or 6 times a day just to make sure what was going on and make sure that we can meet that deadline that we have of being ready for Monday.
It may be hard to envision now, but the lawn of the Memorial Art Gallery will soon be covered with tents like these, some 600 tents at the 44th Annual Clothesline Festival.
There's something for everyone, no matter what your price range, no matter what your taste and style and preferences.
Local artist Joyce Campo has been coming to Clothesline for 20 years. It takes several hours and a lot of help to set up her 2 tents full of some 100 watercolor paintings.
We're a pretty good team, and with my son and his friend, we should have the tents and everything up within an hour.
Most artists who bring their work here say there is something that stands out about setting up shop at Clothesline. Artists like Doris Britt.
The people who come to this show are really looking. They're just not out, strolling. They're really looking to buy, and they're knowledgeable.
When the Clothesline Arts Festival first started, artists actually hung their artwork on Clothesline, thus the name. But as you can see, it's come a long way since 1957. Times have changed, and the Clothesline has grown from 100 local artists when it started to 600 on display today.
Double straps go there.
With a reputation as one of the top arts and crafts festivals in the country.
I've gone as far west as Minneapolis, Minnesota, and as far south as Florida. But good old Clothesline is one of the best in the country.
Great museums don't just happen. They depend on the community to support them. So when you come, you're supporting the gallery. You're also supporting 600 local artists.
We don't care what it is, just as long as it's one and the same.
Ontario County is one of 2 counties in western New York currently split by 2 area codes, the 315 area code and the 716. But this Geneva City Supervisor hopes that will soon change.
There's always been that division and barrier between us, the east and the west in this county. This would help a lot in breaking down that perception.
A proposal supporting a single telephone area code for all of Ontario County has been approved by its Board of Supervisors, leaving the final decision now in the hands of the Federal Communications Commission. By the end of this year, the 716 area code will be reassigned a new code because of a shortage in numbers. And by 2002, the 315 area code will go through the same process due to the same problem, telephone numbers running out.
The timing is right now to do this because they're looking at it. We know they're going to change. So let's see for once if we can break down that communication barrier.
Reassigning a new area code could help unify the county, but business owners, like some here in the city of Geneva, feel that changing numbers would be more of a pain than a convenience.
It's just hard for us, we have to do with the money, everything, stuff like that, and probably our customer won't like it either, they're so used to it too. So.
Sue Kirkhausen owns this picture framing shop in Geneva and says she's not looking forward to all these changes that come with a new area code.
This is really going to be very difficult. We'll have to be changing our business cards, letterheads, that type of thing.
It may serve as a problem for some, but LaRocca is confident the change will do more good than harm for the residents and business owners of Ontario County. Emily Story.
I think it's a very positive thing if it did happen, and I think it should happen.
The 10 o'clock news.
Good running, bro.
I see you with the salute too, dude. He missed it.
I saw it.
He's back with his team 2 years after graduating from Marshall High School and just over a week after being injured when a terrorist bomb exploded while aboard the USS Cole in Yemen.
I just thank God for let's help me and help me get through this, for me to be here to support the team.
This playoff game against Canandaigua was dedicated to the sailor by these Marshall High School players who were proud to have their hero standing nearby.
Find him like a role model.
It's like an extra boost for us to win the game. Give us more motivation to win the game.
Most of these kids remember Ed. They were sophomores when he was a senior, so it's real good to have him back. They're just excited that he's alive and well and with us.
As you can tell, Marshall High School has no problem showing their school spirit, especially with an extra fan cheering on the sidelines.
Let's go, Marshall!
Suffering from a punctured eardrum, Love did his best to cheer on his favorite team and pass along a few words of inspiration.
It really showed that if I could get through this and get through the explosion without a problem, that these football games really are nothing to them, so they can get through this.
They got through it all right. Marshall High beat Canandaigua 26-0. Just another victory for this sailor who took part in beating the odds once again. Emily Story, the 10 o'clock news. At Lady of Mount Carmel's church in the city, pews were aplenty, while parishioners were not. Something church officials say is happening more often within the last few years, even on the holidays. Sister Julia Norton of Mount Carmel says many people are venturing out of the city, going to the suburbs for religious services.
This was predominantly Italian and then predominantly Hispanic parish, which it still is. But they're not living here as many people in the neighborhood, and therefore they have to come back. So there has to be a real commitment to this church to do that.
Many parishioners say they're disappointed in the lack of attendance, especially on a day like today, celebrating the birth of Jesus Christ. They say the main reason they believe the decline is happening is for some people, coming to church is no longer a priority.
People are lazy. They have no faith in anything. It's just other pressures probably in life that for an hour they can't devote an hour to their religion or any religion. I think it's gone myself.
Vincent Sereno still attends church in the city, even though he moved to Pittsford years ago. He blames the city's problem with crime as just another reason for the poor attendance.
Between the vandalism and the all the route, just kids today are just, people are afraid to come to the inner city to go to church.
Sister Norton hopes things will soon change for the better.
I would love to see our churches filled again, but only if there are people that really want to be here.
And people who come out on days like today to celebrate the true meaning of Christmas. Emily Story, the 10 o'clock news.
The mall at Grease Ridge Center has only been open a few hours, but shoppers are already crowding the stores, getting their last-minute shopping done. At major department stores like the Bon-Ton, this is a critical time of year. That's why there are added incentives and increased sales to draw in shoppers like Phyllis Knapp.
Well, they usually have sales at this time of the year, so we take advantage.
Bon-Ton manager Nina Barkley says her store runs sales all year round, but says there's a bigger emphasis on it this time of year, and it's working.
I think we're finding that we're doing more sales this year for the customers. The customers are responding well to the sales. They're they're shopping, they're looking for items to be on sale. When you run the coupon, it's just an added incentive for them to come to our store and shop.
And with more and more sales, shoppers hunt through the aisles to buy more. Department stores also bank on the convenience of having thousands of different gift ideas to draw in customers. Many of the shoppers say if they don't know exactly what it is they're looking for when they come to the malls, they tend to float to the department stores because of the wide variety of items that they have. Many of the shoppers expect to find the hottest gifts, like scooters, at the department stores. For many of the men that are shopping, it's a matter of efficiency.
Well, I try to go to as many stores as I can in a short amount of period. I go to department stores, larger stores. I tend to stick with them. Have more variety.
And with 3 shopping days left before Christmas, department stores like the Bon-Ton expect this holiday shopping season to be as successful as last year. Dan Liddell for the 10 o'clock news.
There you go.